Hey everyone, and welcome. My name is Doug, and you may have seen me around the site under the name The Blue Rogue. And today we'll be discussing a classic genre in gaming history, known as the Japanese role-playing game. It's commonly abbreviated as the JRPG. I searched around our network, and I got two JRPG fans here to talk to us about this exciting genre. Our first guest is an admin of the very impressive Final Fantasy Wikia. We have Drake Clawfang. Drake has an impressive 75,000 edits on the community. I have no idea how long that would have taken, but it's quite a feat. So tell us, how are you doing today, Drake?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. In answer to that, I've been around 6 years.
6 years of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, the wiki looks great. Glad to see all that work put into it. And joining us from Wikia offices in San Francisco, we have my good friend and fellow community development member, Matt Haddock. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
Hey, everybody. Good, doing great.
All right, guys, so let's just get right into it. So for many of you who may not be familiar with the Japanese role-playing game genre, Japanese role-playing games could be considered their own subset of traditional role-playing games, such as Dungeons & Dragons, just in video game form. And the video game genre of Japanese role-playing games, as we know and are familiar with, truly began in the mid to late 1980s. So my question to Drake, and then we'll go to Matt to answer this, is my question to both of you is, what is the first JRPG that you remember playing, and tell me how that game got you hooked on the genre?
My first one was Final Fantasy II for the Super NES. And what really hooked me there is, I didn't have a computer, so I had no computer games. I just had the Nintendo games. And there was nothing else really on the Nintendo at that time that had the same scope and the same grandeur as the Super NES Final Fantasies. The only other game I can remember with a world half as impressive would be Zelda: A Link to the Past. And there, the story was nowhere near as complex or developed, and the characters not as good. Like, I had never seen a game like this before, and it just drew me into its world. It was incredible.
Yeah, I know that the jump from the first Final Fantasy to the second was really a big jump for the genre. The first one was pretty bare bones, and then the second one came out and made a lot of improvements and kind of had that really attached kind of directed story. So that's very cool. So, yeah, Matt, how about you? What was the first JRPG you remember playing?
The first one I played was Dragon Warrior for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Whoa, man, that's way back.
It was very strange. I had played some Zelda before that, but I just got hooked on the simple kind of battle and exploration mechanics. I liked having to go out. It was a great game.
Yeah, yeah. As for myself, I'd say the first JRPG I remember playing was the Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars, which was quite a game to get a start on, I'd say. I played a lot of Mario, and that was the first time I ever really experienced a true RPG game. And just seeing that kind of mesh of a character that I'm used to running around and jumping on things, and suddenly I'm giving battle commands and doing all this really cool kind of timing executions in battle and things like that. It was a very different sort of experience, and I'd say it certainly got me hooked on the genre as a whole. When we think about game mechanics of JRPGs, a lot of people usually think of the same things. What usually comes to people's minds are things such as turn-based combat, a lot of exploration and sprawling towns and worlds. When you think of game mechanics in RPGs, which ones come to mind as being the parts of the game that you enjoy the most?
The mechanics I really enjoy is I play Final Fantasy a lot, but I also play Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon and the Disgaea games. And the things I love about them is the complete customization you have in your party. There are like dozens, hundreds of characters. Pick your favorites, build them up as you like, equip them as you like, go forth and conquer. And it just adds so much replayability. You can play a Pokemon game a dozen times, and it's a different experience every time because you'll have a different team and they'll have different attributes.
All right, Matt, so why don't you tell me about what some of the favorite game mechanics in JRPGs you enjoy?
For me, I think what kind of has maintained my interest in JRPGs through the years is just the level of story development and narrative and kind of the sense of exploration that you get in the games. So you have these huge worlds that you don't really see anywhere else. These worlds always feel so alive and dynamic, and especially the way most of these storylines are, you do feel like you're kind of a powerful figure within this world, and I like seeing these worlds change, and yeah, I love that.
For me, when it comes to game mechanics, I would say that the general exploration, and I'm a really big fan of just like collecting the rare items. I'm one of those people that will, collect a rare consumable item that I say, okay, I'm going to save this for a really important situation later, and then I never use it just because, I think it's
All
too
the
important to
time.
hold on to.
Yeah.
One of the more exhilarating parts of the JRPG genre as a whole, which are the battle systems now. I would say there are primarily 3 different types of battle systems in JRPGs. You have your traditional turn-based, where everyone in your party gets a turn to attack and do an action, followed by someone on the opposing side to do the same thing. And you also have Final Fantasy X is also another example that's really just kind of, turn-based, everyone gets a turn to attack enemies as well. Then you also have, popularized by the Final Fantasy games, which is the ATB system. And the ATB system is a really fun hybrid of turn-based and real-time, where everyone gets a turn to attack, but you have to go through that wait bar, right? In order for your action to be ready, you got to wait for the bar to complete, and it kind of gives a little bit more of a real-time feel to it, even though everyone kind of goes in line. And then you have the really popular combat system nowadays, which is just good old real-time combat. What type of battle system do you enjoy the most, and can you name any particular games that had a unique or interesting battle system that you enjoyed?
I think the action system, like with you said with Kingdom Hearts, I find it, though I think all 3 battle systems, of course, work for their games and they're done well. But with Kingdom Hearts, I thought it's so much more dynamic. You're moving your character, you're issuing the real-time commands, and it really gets you involved and pumped up in combat. In a way, I find the ATB and turn-based systems have never really clicked.
I really liked Nina Cooney's Wrath of the White Witches battle system, because I felt like it was a nice kind of mix of that real-time battle, and it was easy to pick options and kind of tailor the fight to whatever challenge were in front of you.
JRPGs are known to have those really long and complex plots, and you usually stay with a particular cast of characters for a considerable amount of time, seeing how they interact, how they talk, whether it's in moments of crisis or whether they're just, chilling at an inn ready to, set out on their adventure. What cast of characters from a particular game are the most memorable in your mind, and is there a particular plot in a JRPG that you feel was really well done?
My 2 favorite Final Fantasy games, it's a close call, but for like the best cast, I think definitely Final Fantasy IX. Because every character in that game, you know their backstory, you get to know their personality, you see them develop, and you see the struggles they're trying to overcome, and you do see them overcome them.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Final Fantasy IX, and I loved how there were all of these individual problems that each of them had, and how they came together. They had a collective problem and an individual problem. Each of them did, and it was just very elegantly done. But I really like the story in Earthbound, and it's very minimal, it's very quirky. It's kind of non-traditional, it's not very fantasy-oriented, it's more science fiction, I guess, which doesn't tend to be the trend in JRPGs. But yeah, I love that story. It's just how strange and how kind of weirdly heartfelt it is.
So, everyone knows that JRPGs really kind of hit their peak from around this, the Super Nintendo era to the PlayStation 2 era. But what I like to kind of talk about now is the future of JRPGs. Looking to the future, are there any JRPGs that are coming out that you're excited about, any future titles that have your interest, and do you have any thoughts about how the genre could maybe be improved in the future?
The big title I'm really looking forward to is there's another Final Fantasy out, but what I'm really I'll be probably pre-ordering it is Kingdom Hearts 3. For more than 10 years now since the first game, the story has been building up, and the director for the game has basically said, this is it, this is what it's all building up to, the final confrontation. This is and I'm just this is going to be so epic. I have to experience this. I have to see how this story arc concludes.
So, how about you, Matt? Any future RPGs that you're going to be looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm going to be picking up Bravely Default in a couple weeks, and
nice.
I think that's going to be very cool. I just kind of want something to play on my 3DS after making my way through Pokemon and things like that. But I would like to see them take more chances with more IPs, maybe in new aesthetics as well. Like as you were saying, the anime aesthetic is very prevalent, and it would be interesting to see some new ideas and from an artistic standpoint. I think it's exciting. I think there's quite a bit coming out in 2014. So.
Yeah, I definitely think that 2014 is going to have a lot of really good games coming up from all across the board. Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be really great, and the new Final Fantasy looks really gorgeous from what I've seen. But yeah, I think there's plenty to look forward to in the future, and I think that the genre will have a bit of a resurgence here in this upcoming year. So I'm very excited. So, well, Guys, I believe that's all the time that we have for today. I'd like to give a big thank you to Drake and Matt for participating in this great discussion about my favorite game genre. I'd just like to I like to remind everyone here that Wikia is home to thousands of informational online communities, including many of the games that we've just discussed. So be sure to check our network, because I'm sure you'll find plenty of great information. So yeah, for everyone here, thanks so much for watching.